Hello everybody, this is a teardown video for the Rock Island Army, Armory 1911. It's the 1911 A1FS, and today I'm going to show you how to take it down to 100%, well, about 98% disassembly. First, let's start off, make sure the chamber and everything is cleared, nothing in the mag. Set this over here for later. Nothing down in the chamber. Alright, so one of the first things you're going to want to do is flip it up on end, push this down. They make a tool for it, but I'm not going to waste my money on it. Pull out your recoil spring and your spring plug. Set those aside over there. And you're going to want to spin this around to the other side. And it just comes, well, I say just comes. It comes right out. Alright. And that is your barrel bushing. I'm going to pull it back a little bit. Line up a little round hole with the top of the slide stop. Push it out. Push this piece right here in. And you just grab it, wiggle a little bit, and pull it right out. Set that aside. And it all slides apart. You have your guide rod, the GI guide rod. The full length is a lot longer, and it comes out of the front of the slide whenever you have that one. But it comes apart about the same. Alright, then you can slide your barrel straight up and out. You always want to pay attention to how clean it is and make sure there's no damage. Wear is fine, but damage is not. Set it aside. Alright, so now what you have is your firing pin stop or block. I can't think of the exact name for that little piece that slides right there. And then you have your firing pin spring and your ejector. And for this, I have a wonderful screwdriver here. It just works. And you push down on the firing pin and you slide out a little bit. And then it'll lock it down. Make sure you have your finger over it or you will lose your firing pin. And there's your spring block or whatever the hell you call it. And your firing pin and spring come out. Alright, you want to make sure there's no bends or any damage done to this on either side. No mushrooming here. Nothing like that. Set that aside. And your ejector just pushes right up. Sorry, I'm watching the camera while I'm doing this. Probably a mistake there. Pulls right out. Not quite there yet. And there it is. Again, you want to make sure there's no damage across the whole thing. You specifically want to look at this little groove right here that catches on the end of the shell. If you'll look, it catches it and it pulls it out of the chamber after it's been fired. And this one probably needs to be replaced. I'm not too fond of the quality of this 1911, but you can see that in one of my other videos. Alright, now minus the sights, the slide has been disassembled. Alright, now you can set that aside. Again, check for any mushrooming or bad damage or anything like that. Alright, now you can normally do this in several different orders. This is here just to cover up my serial number. But let's start with the grips. I'm not going to pull out the grip bushings because I just don't feel like doing it, to be honest with you, but it's relatively straightforward, so they should just unscrew out. You want to make sure not to lose any of your grip screws. And I know these grips don't look the nicest, but I made them by hand, had some issues with it, as you can see with the splitting and stuff and the chipping, but That's what you get for working with cedar. And not having very good woodworking tools. But I like them. They fit my hand nice. So I keep using them. And I like the way they look. But these all you need is a wide screwdriver. Well, much wider than this end. And they should just unscrew right out. And then let's do this other grip here. Man, I am happy with this camera in comparison to my old one. My old one was way worse. You can see it in some of my other videos. But again, this one split in half and I glued it back together. But again, I like them and they fit my hand well. Alright, now your grips are off. And let's get to the rest of it. The mag release, you can pull that out almost any time. Anyway, you push it down till you see it come out. It's kind of hard to get a good camera angle on this. Anyway, you pull it out and you just lightly try and turn this screw until you find the thing, and you'll feel a little pop. And it slides right out. And if you look here, there's a little lever that screw turns. See if I can do this on camera while looking at the camera. Yeah, you see that? Turns and it pops right out. And that is, as soon as I get the spring off, your mag release has been disassembled. Alright, set that aside. I like to keep these in their own little spot because those are just annoying if you lose. Alright, next, you can do it with, well, for this next part, which is normally where I go to next. Crap. You pull the hammer back and you wiggle your safety and it slides right out. Again, check for mushrooming, any damage. But anyway, this is called your thumb safety. And your beaver tail will get loose afterwards, but not all the way out. For this, I like to put the hammer back down to release the tension. Alright. Now from this step, before you get too much further, I kind of talked and messed around a little bit. You want to pull this out. This is the spring tension to hold your thumb safety in place, and to put slight tension on your sorry, I'm having trouble remembering the names. Your slide stop. Put that aside. I normally put it over here with my my mag release. Sorry about that. It's been a long day, guys. Alright, anyway, from that point, what I normally do is I normally come down here. I want to find a relatively solid spot to put it. Careful doing this little step here, because you can scar your gun up a bit. Nobody likes scratches. I mean, I like the worn look probably more than the next guy, but scratches are a bit annoying. Let me see if I can find a pair of pliers over here. Not what I was looking for, but it will work. Anyway, you can either continue pressing it out, but I don't like doing it that way because a lot of times you'll lose it. But you pull that bottom pin out. I normally set all my pins aside in one spot, and your back strap will come right out. All right, and let's set that over here for further disassembly. And at this point, your beaver tail, this is the GI type, will come out. Again, look for weird wear or anything like that. Your spring assembly, I can't remember what this one's called. I think it's the main spring. You want to set that aside. And then if you look down in here, you can see your hammer strut right here. That's your hammer strut. It's attached to your hammer. And you can't see it very good on camera. Let me grab another light, see if you can see it better. You can see your disconnector, the backside of your trigger, and your sear. And to get those out, you flip the firearm over to the opposite side that you push in on. You push this pin in and this pin in. Took me a little while to realize it, but these are actually only supposed to go in one way, so the safety keeps them in. Set those in your pin spot, and you pull the other one out. All right. Now here's your hammer. Your sear. Your disconnector. And your trigger. And that is almost everything. The last thing to pull off is your ejector right here. Everything else is peened in, so it's not removable unless you plan on removing it and replacing it. But it's not normally something you would take out. Anyway, there's a little pin here on the slide. You can pull it out from either direction, but this one is really tight in comparison to most of the other ones. And maybe I should have thought about what tools I'd need before I started this. Let me pause you for a second. Alright, I got a different tool here. Not sure if this one will do it or not. Can't remember what I used last time. But you always want to be careful not to scratch your finish on your 1911, because you will do it if you're not paying attention or being careful. I don't think it's going to go with this tool. Alright, let's try from the other direction. Sometimes these pins can be quite tricky. And I find this one in particular very annoying. I'm not seeing something else I can use for this. I guess I'll try this piece again from this side. Well, sorry about this, guys. If I would have thought of it, I would have went and dug something out. Yeah, I think it might be getting it finally. Yeah, there it is. And this one is the same thing. Grab a pair of pliers, pull it out. And this one's kind of a bugger to find. This one's a bit bent, but once it's in place, it don't affect it. And your disconnector should slide up. There it goes. And there's your disconnect. Not your disconnector. Sorry, guys. Your ejector. Oh, I know This one's the ejector, and this piece are the two I call ejectors. I think this one's the actual ejector, but I can't remember or think of the other name for this piece, I think. Sorry about that, guys. But the rest of them are peened on, like the front side on the slide. And you might be able to see it down in here. Let's grab another light. If you look down in here, they've been widened so it won't come back out. See that little hole right there in the corner and right next to the big window shaped hole? Yeah, those two have been widened so they can't go back out. Same thing on the front sight here. This isn't the dovetail type. You can see it was a square hole and it's been peened out, so it's wider than the hole so it can't come off. Funny thing is, to remove these front sights to replace them with something else, grab them a hold with a pair of pliers and you twist it and snap it off, and then hammer it through that way. But now the last little bit is your there's another spring in here with a cap and a cone on the bottom. Took me forever to find the little piece that's in the bottom of here whenever I saw it online. But this is your back strap, and then your strut spring and cap, and there's another little pin in here, if I can remember which way it goes. And it should go out through the bottom. And stuff like this, you gotta pull this, get the spring tension off of, or you're just fighting yourself. And this one's gonna be difficult because I have a camera in my face here. Alright, hang on. I got to move some stuff around here. I'm making a mess of things. Not normally trying to do this on camera. Alright, got another little bitty small pin. Goes over there in the pile. Then you got your little plug. I normally keep that inside. And I got this little piece. I'm not real sure what to call that except for another plug. And they go in just like that. So I think the only thing I have left to disassemble is a magazine, and yeah, I'll just go ahead and do it for you. The little thing on the bottom, you push it in, you slide it forwards, keep your hand over the bottom, got this little piece, and you got your follower. So then you can clean your mag out with a normal brush or whatever else. Looks like I need to do so, but that's for a different time. You want to make sure your follower sits in here the way it's supposed to go. And man, I really don't like these type of followers and magazines for 1911. Put your spring in. You want to try and make sure this bit lines up with the bottom with the follower. Slide it in. Make sure your follower didn't do anything stupid on it. Make sure your little the round bit goes up. Gonna push it into place. Slide your magazine foot or whatever you call it on. And a lot of times you'll have to kind of work this piece around till it goes up and gets in place. But let your magazine reassembled. Let me set it off to the side here. And now we can continue working on putting this stuff back together. Alright. I think I'll work on getting this back together. Remember the little cone side goes in. And again, this one you want to pre-start your pin. Make sure it comes in from the back. If you don't put it in from the back, you're going to have issues. You want to spring load it and push it in while you're pushing down on the spring. And while your back strap is assembled, let's go ahead and get your mag release assembled, just so we can try not to lose it somewhere in this process. You never know when your dog's going to run around here and try and say hello, or a kid. I have an issue with both. You want to bring it all the way over. Alright, now that's assembled. Alright, let's go and get the slide out of the way, just to make this video a little bit quicker, I hope. You want to start with your ejector, slide it straight on down. And then make sure your spring is clear and clean of debris, and drop it in the hole. Again, check everything for debris as you go. Now the firing pin and the firing pin spring, again, they're under spring tension. So you want to set it up about like this. Take your screwdriver and well, you can sometimes see, that's what you got to watch out for. You got to push it down, and I normally push really hard on your cap piece right here while I do it, and I try and catch that lip on the firing pin. And again, sorry, this is kind of a pain in the ass trying to do this with the camera in your face. When you get it to this position, push down a little harder, and just let it slide into place. Now you're on to the more normal stuff for tear down. Slide your barrel in. I try to make sure my barrel link stays up. And then I put my barrel bushing in. Again, well, there. I don't know if, well, you saw me take it apart, it's the opposite. Anyway, whenever you do it, you want to make sure the spring can go through and you can push it over easily. So I normally keep it about like that. And I normally just set the guide rod in on top of the barrel, slid all the way forwards. And then this is good enough for now. We can set that aside. Alright. Now, let's get on to more important things. We'll get this ejector put in. I normally like to start with this. This is a good example of why I don't like Rock Island. Whenever I pulled this off for the first time, this whole area right here underneath it was full of metal shavings. And this is almost a brand new gun. It shouldn't have had any of that. Anyway, you see the hole there? You see that divot in the long pin? It goes in just like that. And then it goes in the two holes, and it sits sturdy. And then you just install your pin. And again, you always got to be careful not to scratch your firearm if you're particular about it. I don't particularly like scratches, but I don't mind wear. I like the look of wear. So I've kind of sped some of the wear up on this one. And then you want to make sure it sits relatively flush. Sometimes it'll be a little off on one side or the other. But you want to make sure it's about as even as possible. Alright, so your injector is installed. Sometimes there's a little wobble, a little bit's okay. So now that we've gotten that, You want to drop your trigger in here. I'm probably going to get it the wrong side first. I always do. I always forget which way it goes. It only goes in one way. And you want to set it in there. Always make sure you do your trigger before you put in your mag release. Anyway, for the mag release, you push the trigger all the way forwards and drop it down in the hole. Grab your little flathead screwdriver, and it's almost the same as installing it. You pull it, well, you try and turn the screw clockwise lightly while you press, and you'll hear a click, and it's installed. It works. At this point, you can go ahead and check your magazine. Make sure it functions and holds in place and ejects properly. And it does. So there's that little bit. Alright, now here's one of my most hated little sections. Got to get your sear and your disconnector. Well, so much for that. And let's see here. Half the time I have to play with them a little bit, and most of the time I get it wrong the first try. I think it's that way. Anyway, you got to stack them. It's about like this. If I get it wrong this time, I'll pull it back apart and show you. But you want to come up here, and you see that little indentation right there? That top piece has to go through there. The disconnector does. And if you had tweezers, it would make things a hell of a lot easier, but again, I didn't think through this video before I did it. So, you want to make sure it sits. The disconnector's up there. Make sure everything sits the way it should and moves the way it should. This is not binding. And then you come over here and you find your pins. And there's the other one. Now, this small pin, make sure you come in from this side right here. Because if you can see it, there's a little... well, I don't think my camera's good enough for that. But there's a little lip there, so it only goes in one way. Now, if I can stop looking at the camera while I'm doing this. Most of the time you can get away with moving the trigger and sliding stuff around just a hair. But oftentimes I don't. Let me get a light on here because I can't see it. You got to move it around and find that sweet spot to get this pin into. There it is. And just lift up on your sear. Make sure you got it in there. And it appears to be functional and correct. Now to the hammer. The hammer sometimes can be annoying, but most generally it's not. And again, this one has a lip as well. You can kind of see it, but not very well. Anyway, make sure the lip is in your fingers, and you push it in through this side of the hole. Same as the other one, kind of work around until you find it. Alright, now, get your hammer strut out of the way. And then you drop your mainspring down in it. Crap, hang on.